Hey everybody, this is Jeremy at Pioneer Midwest. I'm here on my my day off, I guess, to give a little kick wax demo. So I've had a lot of questions in the last week or two with some of these bigger races, and with Berkey coming up, just how to apply kick wax, how to apply Klister. So I'm just here to give my thoughts and show you what my process is to apply this stuff. So I'll start off with the kick wax demonstration. Go through that pretty quickly and then move on to Klister on the second part of the video. So when I have skis here, first thing I do is I get the zones taped off. So what we do here at Pioneer is we mark zones. There's 3 different zones you'll see on the back and then the front of the ski. So furthest out is going to be 0.2, in the middle is 0.4, and then all at the ends here is 0.6. So what this signifies to us is 0.2 is going to be for more hard wax conditions, colder hard waxes, blues, greens, maybe some violets. The middle zone, the 0.4, is going to be for warmer hard waxes, violets and reds, potentially like a thin Klister cover as well. So if you're putting down like a blue Klister, ice Klister, and then covering it with some hard wax. And then 0.6 is going to be for your true Klister conditions. So what I do on skis when I first get on the bench, get the zones marked, I'll get some light sandpaper on the ski. So I like to use 100 grit sandpaper. And when I'm doing the kick waxing in between each time I'm going out, knowing that I've already had the zones prepped pretty well to begin with, it's just a very light sandpaper. So just back and forth, just a little bit, just a nice light job there. Really doesn't need to be too much. And then picking out your binder. So picking out binders, I've had a talk on this a couple times, but depending on the condition. So right now I'm going to apply Rex base binder. This is for less abrasive type of conditions, less abrasive type snows. So newer snow, softer snow, stuff that you're just not really worried about the wax ripping off, but you still want to have that little bit of a security blanket there. So this is a brand new tin. I'm just gonna cut it open. And so this Rex binder I really like. It's a fast binder. So when I'm just looking for a little bit of durability, a little bit of security, I will add this to the ski as my binder. So pretty much like any other standard hard wax, I'm going to just crayon it on. It goes on very nicely, very smooth. This is one of the reasons why I like this wax. It's just really easy to apply. When you're in a jiff, you could just cork this in, but it really won't be that durable if you just cork that. Really what you want to be able to do is add some heat to this. So I've got a kick iron plugged in. So now I'm just going to add a little bit of heat to this. So I have a kick specific iron, so sticky iron, so that I don't get my nice glide iron all sticky. So adding heat will help to increase that durability. So I'm just going back and forth, heating up the wax. I've got this iron right now set at like 130 degrees or so. So now that there's a little bit of heat in there, I'm now going to take that cork, smooth it out. Be a very nice thin layer. So very thin layer there. Nice binder. Helps to give you a little bit extra cushion. So now that we have that down, we can start to layer on some kick waxes. Kick waxes. Let's add a couple of my favorites out here. So with kick waxes, we're just going to do layers of these. So it's better to add multiple thin layers of wax than it is to have one thicker layer. So right now, just got Rex Blue, every day, every winter conditions. And you'll want to have the binder set for probably a couple more minutes than I did here. The wax is still warm, so what's going to happen is I'm actually, when it's too warm like I have right now, the wax is going to mix with that binder, and they're going to kind of go between each other. You really want to have that binder fully cooled. You can set the ski outside, get it nice and hard so that the kick wax you're putting on is just sitting on top versus kind of muddling its way through and mixing together. So just nice cork. When I am doing race wax jobs on skis that I'm not familiar with, but I have these markings, what I'm able to do is actually wax skis very similarly because I know how high the camber is, how high the pocket is. So generally what I do is I do a binder across the full length of the ski. Then I will do 2 layers that are going to be the full length of the ski, or full length of the zone, so 0.6 to 0.6. Just nice light corking. 2 layers, they're going to be 0.4 to 0.4. So there's my first 0.4 to 0.4, and then I'll have the second 0.4 to 0.4. So I'm not putting a lot of pressure on this cork. I'm just letting the friction do its work on heating up the wax just a little bit. Try not to mix that binder together. And so if this were just regular conditions, I'd be happy to go out there and apply this. If you're looking to cover a wax though, and that's what I'll show here really quickly. So let's say it's starting to snow right now. I got this Wax 30 GB from Rex. So this is going to help out when there's newer snow. What I'll do is just apply a thin cover, thin shell to this, and I will do this across the entire ski. So adding that in. And so again, similar to the other stuff, I'm just gonna really just try to leave this wax on top, but basically not putting any pressure on this cork, just smoothing it out. You can also do it by hand as well with your thumb. This is another way to make sure that the wax doesn't really mix together, that it will just stay on top. And so there's that. And then the last thing I'm going to show is that when I'm waxing athlete's skis and if they're having issues getting kick and they come back and they're like, hey, I need a bump. Generally what I'm going to do is I will look at the zones, figure out how tall the ski is. If there's that 0.6 zone, I might make it a little bit longer. If there's not a 0.6 zone, it'd be a little bit shorter. But generally what I end up doing is I find the where the binding pin is at. I will make a mark about 3 inches behind. And then zone about 6 inches ahead of that binding point. So I will then add some wax just in that spot there. And that's going to be where I put the bump. So this is going to be the highest point of the ski where you might need a little bit extra thickness to get that kick. And again, with a soft wax like this, I'm just using my thumb to let this sit on top. So I don't want that bump to go the full length of the ski. Generally what that'll end up doing is it'll slow down the ski considerably, and really don't want that. So on to Klister. So got the zones already pre-taped, and having these zones on Klister is actually a lot more important than having the tape. For Klister is a lot more important to me than it is on hard wax. The reason is I actually use the tape to push the wax off of. If I have too much wax on the ski, I actually use the tape as my play around zone to make sure that I have room to push stuff off. So with this, same light sanding I did before, use that 100 grit sandpaper. Then I will get to the liquid base Klister from Rex, or you can choose a base Klister of your choice from another company. I like the base Klister from Rex. Goes on very, very thin, pretty easy to apply, doesn't need heat. So it's a really nice option to get started. So basically, if anybody's used any of the dauber style waxes before on glide wax, it's the exact same thing in kick waxing side of things. So got that going. What I'm looking for is just to make sure that the that zone is fully wet, so you kind of see the shiny spots there. Ideally letting this dry. I'm probably going to skip that drying step again. This should dry for 3 to 5 minutes. I'm going to try to speed up the process a little bit, but honestly, I think I'm just going to skip that drying step. I'm not going to go ski on the ski afterwards. I'll just clean it up. So pretend here that this has been drying for 3 to 5 minutes. And so I will pick out Klister. So I got, I had an open tube with TK2251 in my box. I picked this one out because it's silvery. It's a little bit easier to see on camera than some of the universal Klisters that are going to be more clear. So it's hard to see. This is just easier to see. So with this wax, a little bit coming out the top here. So when I'm doing Klister, what I like to do is make sure I have a similar amount of Klister on both sides of the ski. So it's the left side of the groove, the right side of the groove, in addition to the other ski that you're matching. So when you do that, in order to get that similar amount, what I do is I count the amount of dots I put on one side of the groove, match that on the other side of the groove, and then I'll go to the other ski and match that. So generally I'll be between 12 and 15 dots on each side of the groove, depending on how long the zone is. So with this, I will just go along and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So I'm gonna match that on the other side of the ski now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Put the cap back on the Klister so it doesn't sneak out of there. And so now the nice thing is I'm working inside at room temperature. This wax is actually pretty soft. I don't need heat to work on it. So with this, I can just start to work it in here with my thumb, getting full coverage of the zone. Now, if you're to be doing this out in a non-heated garage, you might need you might need some heat. So I got a blowtorch here. I won't need it, but blowtorch heats up the wax, makes it a little bit easier to spread out. So bit easier there to spread out. But anytime you can avoid this means that you're going to one, use less materials, but also you don't have to heat up the wax. So it's kind of a nice piece there. So I'm just going to work this in. And now you'll be able to see on camera there how I got that. And then how I'm using the tape there to push off excess wax. And I'll push that off onto the tape. And then I'll work on the other side of the ski as well. And so this is the time-consuming part about Klister, is just making sure that you get this worked in well. And you get nice smooth coverage of the ski. And now towards the back part of this zone here, I actually purposely put on just a little bit less Klister than I needed to on the back of the ski. And so what you'll notice, I'll actually get the camera up a little bit close so you can see this here. Bring the camera up. Now what you notice is basically right in here. It's a little bit different color. You can see more of that base material sticking out. It's not quite enough wax at that part of the ski. So when that happens, just get a little bit of wax. Just add one more dot. Back. All right, and now I've got nice solid coverage there. So using my thumb, just spreading this out. All right. Great. And let me see if I can grab. Nope, there's something over there. I'm gonna run over to the other side of the wax bench really quickly to grab a. Oh, I see one there. So now I like to get Klister scraper here. Get the groove, put that extra wax on the tape, and then smooth it out one more time. Both sides of the groove. All right, so that's Klister waxing. Pretty simple. You can use that with really any type of Klister. I'm just gonna get a paper towel, get some of the sticky stuff off my thumb. So there are other things you can do to this Klister now. So let me adjust this camera, see if I can get it back up again. So there's other things that you can do to this Klister. You can cover the Klister. You can cover it with a hard wax. That will sometimes help speed up that Klister in certain conditions, help prevent icing in certain conditions. So lots of waxes that you can typically use are going to be waxes that have tar additives, so like a Start Terra line, or stuff like this here that has it's a Klister mix. So there's a little bit of Klister in here, but also other products as well. So those are going to help to sometimes maybe increase kick, increase glide. A lot of times though that comes with testing. One of the other products I actually like to use quite a bit in dirtier conditions and softer conditions when it's wetter outside. So Rex grip powder. So this is something that will actually harden up the Klister a little bit. So what I'll do is like, I don't know, olden days of fluoro powder, this non-fluorinated product. Basically I just put it on the ski. And then just spread it out with my fingers, and it's kind of like a baby powder almost, and it creates a shell over that ski, over the Klister, and so with that helps to prevent picking up some of that junk and debris that you see on the trail, ensures that kick and helps prevent some icing. So it's a little trick that I have there. So I really like this product in those warmer, wetter conditions that we've been having recently, to help speed up kick, prevent icing. So yeah, that's what I got for you here. If there's any questions, feel free to leave a comment. Hopefully I'll be able to respond to that here in the next couple days or over the time of the course of this video. Take care.